Hey everybody, Josh RV Nerd here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan with the Freedom Express 246. This is a little bit older 2012 model that I would say is in decent condition. It's really not bad. It has, let's just get this right out of the way, it has had, I think, a pretty significant leak up front, but what you're going to see, and I'm going to show you this first thing so you can form your own opinions on this, it was resealed like crazy, and where it was affected, they did the things they needed to do to bring it back up into functional shape. Is it exactly back to factory spec? No. Like, you can obviously see she's completely... this thing's got a forehead like her old Uncle Josh back here. It's just, you know, the original stuff ain't there anymore. The original stuff ain't there anymore. But what I'm getting at is, like, where the walls, where the floor were affected, they fixed it up enough to make it work that a big guy like me can walk around it. I can feel where there is a little bit of a soft spot in the floor in the bedroom, but nothing that stops me from walking around. I don't have to really be careful. I'm on thin ice, toe tap around this thing. It's all right. But anytime you hear that there has been water in something, that automatically means there's going to be some level of mold content somewhere in this camper. I know that certain people have really specific irritations to things like that. I know that's an instant deal breaker from people, and that's why I get that stuff out of the way right up front. Let's take a look at those things, and if you appreciate the way that we just, let's get the scary stuff out of the way first, hit that subscribe button, and if it doesn't scare you, for the right money, you might consider taking her home. Check the link in the video description. You can see what the going asking price and the availability at any time, whether you're serious or whether you're just curious. All right, nobody likes leaving elephants in the room because they break things, and nobody likes undisclosed damage on an RV. Certainly not me. If I were shopping, this is exactly the kind of thing I would want to know about, which is why I make sure I touch on these things first. So you can see, obviously, the decals have been taken off the nose. They actually did a pretty good job of it. I'm not convinced. Actually, the more that I look at that, I'm thinking that is not the original fiberglass on the nose. And here's why I've really kind of just realized that. Because there's not even the beginning of where there used to be any decals on the nose. And if you look at it, it's a little tricky to see, but there's a little color change. This is the original fiberglass. It's been touched by the sun a little bit more than the front fiberglass, on which you can also see a little bit higher shine and sheen level. Now, this RV has had a leak. It started right up at the roof at the front termination strip where the roof meets the nose. And just to give you a look at that, I captured a little bit of extra additional footage where you can see they resealed the living crap out of it. The RV's had a leak. It is not leaking currently, and they didn't just reseal that. I mean, the entire front nose here, they have gone over it. And from what I'm seeing from the condition of these seals, it looks like that probably happened a year or two ago. Now, naturally, water works down until it can't go down anymore, which usually means it stops at the floor and starts messing stuff up. And at a glance, you look in here, and you're going, oh, well, maybe not. But I know for a fact, being a Freedom Express dealer, that's not what the front of one of these look like. And I know for a fact that that is not the flooring that they have ever used. So what I can see here is that they've replaced some paneling, they've replaced some flooring. But that's, you know, not all bad. The fact is they didn't let it sit there, you know, and rot. They did something about it. And this all seems to really have come from that front termination strip that I mentioned. And it does all seem to be localized up in the bedroom area. And you can kind of see that because if we look down here, they did a nice job on a transition here in putting some new flooring down. But that little metal strip right there where the flooring changes, that's not factory original. But it's not bad. Now, I can't really demonstrate this well on camera, but there are multiple soft spots as you walk around up here in the bedroom. And there is some residual signature of that water exposure in here. Like if I get right up here into this closet, you can see how that piece of Luan right there has sponged a little bit. And as you look down, you can see where that has been affected in this closet. Similarly, the other side closet sees basically the same thing over here. Although I noticed these wall panels weren't sponged at all. But again, the RV's in functional shape. It's okay. It's not great. It's not good, certainly. Actually, from the bedroom back, everything else that you're about to see here is pretty darn sharp. But that's big deal stuff. You deserve to know about that before we go anywhere with this video. But like I said, from behind the bedroom, from the bathroom back through the living room to the rear kitchen area, this is actually pretty solid. Now, this was made before we had the giant 40-inch 4K Jumbotrons, brother. It was still, I mean, you could argue this is still not camping because we've got things like, you know, a furnace and an air conditioner and all that nonsense. But we'll say RVing. It's not glamping quite yet. Certainly, love that giant door side window though. This is such a classic model. They continue to produce this today with very few tweaks. It's almost like an alligator or a crocodile. They came up with something so good that evolution just said, leave it alone. They're fine. This thing's like a living fossil in the RV industry. And I think it's they kind of broke a lot of rules making this. Like, if you notice all the kitchen space in here, a bunch of it is actually included in the slide out, which is, I think, one of the things that makes this one work. And there's what I mean. Like, the pantry is part of, it's a very interesting, like, sofa storage super slide. You don't say things like that very often. There's a lot of S's and alliteration and slippery socks in there. But of course, we've got the Freedom Express utensil drawer. This is the best use of space under a sink I've ever seen. The way that it wraps around the sink fixture like that. It's all sectionalized, compartmentalized. And these are all sealed edge press membrane countertops. Now, that kind of stuff is very common in today's market. But in 2012, nobody other than Coachmen had it because Coachmen owned the company that made that stuff. And as long as we're looking at storage, we've actually jumped now to the opposite side of the super slide. I'm going to back up in a second to give you a look here. But this is just a giant closet space with yet another little, I don't know, just you could use that for pantry, dresser, generic storage. What would you put in that little triple compartment cabinet right there? I'm always kind of curious how people are going to move in. Now, straight across from the dinette window, we have that excellent big sofa window giving us some awesome cross breeze airflow. And what's kind of cool is that little jackknife fold-down sleeper sofa. We sat at it earlier. I don't know if you kind of connected those dots, but it's straight across from the entertainment here. So I think that this is a great camper for, like, it's a good solo or couples camper, but you've got awesome little, like, hey, bring some people over, invite some friends over, sit down, have a bite to eat, play a hand of cards or whatever, shoot the breeze, chew the fat. I don't know, what other colloquialisms do we have? And it's kind of cool. This thing is classic enough, but still modern enough. Like, it has like that privacy sort of storage hallway. And I don't know if you, I was up close and personal when I started this, but that little bench right there, giving you a place to sit down and put on your shoes, little timeout seat. If I talk back to my wife, I love little things like that. It just, you know, makes it more comfortable. Now, one major thing I want to point out here, this is a Camp Queen. Today's Freedom Expresses have true queen beds. That's one of the reasons this is a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter weight than some of the new Freedom Expresses. There's always, you know, a give and a take. Now, we've kind of looked at the bedroom already here, so I want to take a little peek right next door at our bathroom space. It's not massive. The trailer is not massive, but there is decent legroom around that toilet. There's enough room, I think, you can get dressed when you are in the shower. But a potential hiccup problem for some folks on this one. This is also made before Freedom Express went extra tall. This is still 6.5 foot tall, not 6'9". And with no skylight in the shower, if you are, I would say 6 foot or bigger, you're potentially bumping your head in there. So you might want to just kind of, I don't know, keep that one in mind. And just to really kind of demonstrate the travel capability of this one, I thought I'd actually start road mode up here in the bedroom area. Now, one of the interesting things is it's actually easier to access the bathroom of this one in transit than it is the newer version of this RV. Although the 2022, you can still do that. There's just a little trick, but I'm not going to get into that. It has nothing to do with this video. As you see, you got to do a little sideways travel trailer two-step here, and then we find ourselves back in the living room space. But the fact is, from the back door up to the front bedroom, you can get in here and you can access almost everything. I think the utensil drawer gets a little bit blocked out, but other than that, she is travel stop Cracker Barrel worthy. And don't get me wrong, I never want to see any RV have troubled history like this. But in a way, I think it actually is good that we got to see this, because this is an Azdel RV. They are using Azdel in the sidewalls. But so often, when people hear Azdel, they just immediately think, ooh, that prevents any and all water damage possibly whatsoever. And no, it doesn't. I don't know where people get that little idea from, especially when it's only half the wall is Azdel. But it's, I think, important that people get to see that Azdel is a great material, but it alone is not going to make your RV somehow like impervious to water damage or time. That being said, of course, I wish, this thing didn't have any problems. And also, that being said, the sidewalls where the Azdel is located, they haven't seemed to have suffered any sort of water damage issues. So the Azdel material itself has done a good job, but you got to remember, it's only in a limited portion of this RV. Little slide open Coleman camp grill here right under that fridge inside, which is about 6 cubic feet. It is also gas and electric, by the way. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think that's just the light tricking me. There is a little ripple in the wall back here. That is likely due to twisting stress in transit, because in a bottom rear corner like that, that is a higher stress area. And I know it's not delamination, because before something can delaminate, it first must be laminated. And the rear wall of this is not. So that is just, the skin has been twisted around a little bit to form that little bubble shape right there. So thank you very much for joining us today, folks. We're family owned and operated. We always like to try to give you the square skinny on stuff, and she looks like she might be the one. Give us a call. Let's see if we can get you camping. Short of that, if like what you saw up front, the nose where this thing has had a leak in the past, if that's a deal breaker, totally get it, totally respect it. Give us a call anyway. Let us know what you're looking for. We'll see what else we got in our lineup. We have these things in the brand new RV market. Naturally, it's going to run a little bit more money, but also, naturally, it still has things like the nose decals. Although, is it just me? Whenever you just like power wash or goo gun off and heat gun decals off things, doesn't it look kind of cool? I kind of like that clean, plain look. What do you think about that? Let me know. Until then, take care, stay safe, have fun. Happy Haylett camping, everyone.
Walking